Hi students, this is the second part of vectors. It's about parallel property. I think many students struggle to understand and appreciate the concept of parallel property in vectors. So let's dive in. If A is parallel to B, this means that A is equals to K times of B. Why is this so? Please refer to my previous video on if I have a scalar multiple, then what does it geometrically mean? Okay, this is covered in the basics of vectors. Okay, so if A is parallel to B, this just means that A equals to K times of B. You have to insert the K in, and we need to find the value of K first. Okay, so for example, P is equals to 9, negative 12, Q is equals to M, 27. Question already told you that P is parallel to Q. So what does this mean? This means that P is equals to K times of Q. You only bold the P and Q because P and Q are vectors. K is a scalar multiple. It is a constant. So P, which is 9, negative 12, is equals to K times of M, 27. You can do it the other way around, no problem. Okay, but still, the first thing we need to do is we need to find out what is K first. And if we have a scalar multiple in front of the vector, we multiply the K to both the M and the 27. Okay, so this means that 9, negative 12 is equals to Km and 27K. Could we use the Km to find anything? No, because they are two constant. Okay, so first thing is, if two vectors are equals to each other, this means that 9 is equals to Km. And we probably cannot find anything from this because they are two unknown. Okay, the other one will be negative 12 is equals to 27K. And from here, we can say that K is equals to negative 12 over 27, and that will be negative 4 over 9. Okay, so always find K first, then we put it into here. Okay, 9 is equals to negative 4m, negative 4 over 9m. Okay, so which means that m is equals to 81, negative 81 over 4. You use 9 to divide by negative 4 over 9. Okay, and this is how we find the m. So if you are given parallel, you insert the k in. Okay, if you are given parallel, you insert the k in. Another type of question would be how to show that two vectors are parallel to each other. So the converse is true. What do I mean by that? That means in the first part, if A is parallel to B, here, I say that A is equals to K times of B. Okay, the converse, which means if A is equals to K times of B, then what does it mean? A parallel to B. This is the concept that students struggle to understand. Okay, so for show that question, we will usually need to factorize a K out from the bigger vector. Okay, this is Mr. Ivan hot tip. My hot tip to you is, if you want to show that two parallels are vectors, we factorize a K out from the bigger vector. The K need not be a whole number, it could be a fraction as well. Okay, express 2p plus q and p minus r as column vectors. So first, I write 2p plus q. And this would just mean 2 times of 9, negative 12, plus q, which is negative 6, 27. Okay, for the sake of spacing, I will just write it this way. And this would be 2 times 9, 18. Okay, minus 6. Immediately you do operations for the x coordinate. Y coordinate, negative 24 plus 27. And hence I will get this as 12, 3. Okay, and p minus r will just be equals to 9, negative 12 minus r is 5, negative 13. So this will be equals to 4 and 1. Okay, now show that 2p plus q is equals to k times of p minus r. Okay, so 2p plus q. So this is how we show. We always, not always, usually we will write the bigger vector out first, 12, 3. And we realize that we can factorize the 3 out from both the x and y. 4, 1. And who is 4, 1? 4, 1 is here. 4, 1 is equals to P minus R. So this is equals to 3 times of P minus R. Okay, so this is how we show that a bigger vector is k times of the smaller vector. And since 2p plus q is equals to 3 times of p minus r, okay, what are two facts that I can say about the two column vectors? Okay, number one, the first fact is 2p plus q, this vector is parallel to p minus r. Okay, they are parallel. Okay, and number two, the magnitude, that means the length of p plus q, 2p plus q, okay, is to the ratio, okay, is to p minus r, all right, is 3:1, because 2p plus q is 3 times longer than p minus r, so that's why the ratio of their magnitude. So we always talk about the magnitude. Okay, so the important point about this part of the video is, if a bigger vector can be expressed as a k times of the smaller vector, there are two things you can say. Number one, they are parallel. Number two, the ratio of the magnitude is depending on how many times it is to the other vector. Okay, so which brings me about the conclusion of this second part. If the question asks you for a ratio of two magnitude, always use the parallel property. Which means that if A is equals to, even if it's negative 3 times of B, okay, what does this mean? This means that the magnitude of A is to magnitude of B is 3:1. Disregard the negative. The negative just tells you that B is in the opposite direction of A. Okay, but B, sorry, yes, B is, A is 3 times of B, so B has 1 unit, A it has 3 units. Okay, and vice versa. If let's say the magnitude of PQ is to magnitude of RS, okay, is 5:6. If we put this back into an equation form, it means that 6 times of PQ is equals to 5 times of RS. Because PQ has 5 units, RS has 6 units. PQ is smaller than RS, so PQ need to multiply by the bigger factor to be equals to RS. Okay, and you can even do operations like this. PQ is equals to 5/6 times of RS. This is also okay. Alright, so this part of the vectors is super important about parallel property. Number one, if you are given that they are parallel, just insert the k into the second vector. A equals to k times of B. Okay, if they ask you to show that two vectors are parallel, always factorize the k out from the bigger vector. Then you can show that it is equals to how many times of the second vector. And with that, you use it to say that the ratio of their magnitude is what is to what. Okay, and this concludes the second video on parallel property. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channel, like our Instagram as well. See you at the next part.